Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Developer Student Club App and Development with Kotlin. We're very excited to be sharing this workshop with you all. Just making sure, is my voice working fine? All right, awesome. So today we're going to speak about Android in Kotlin. It is a very interesting topic that's been developed and used in different fields and in a lot of different places. And our team today are gonna basically go over the importance of Kotlin and how it's being used in industry currently, and it's a good tool to have in any developer's arsenal, as well as going through simple, easy to follow a workshop. And at the end, we're expecting to have also a quick rundown and a demo that will be showcased by one of our members. So to get things started, I would like to invite Danielle to go over like the main Kotlin usage and how you can all benefit from it yourselves.
Hi, welcome to the Android Studio in Kotlin. And so to start off, Kotlin is a cross-platform, statically typed, general-purpose programming language with type interface. And what that basically means is that Kotlin can be used easily, and it is easy to implement with your Android. And recently, they've also been moving to iOS development and further expanding. It's commonly used in mostly Android applications, but this also includes that Android applications are not only on phones, but also found on TVs. They're found in cars and a few other things. And recently they've been moving to iOS development, as I said, so you can do that some other time. And then Android is 100% compatible with Java. They have great IDE and tooling support, supported by JetBrains, which also makes PyCharm and CLion. And we use Kotlin because you write less code than Java and it's easier to implement. So the app we'll be building today is going to be a coin flip app. And I'm going to pass it over to Sydney so she can show you how to start the project.
Hello, everybody. So yeah, I'm going to walk you through creating your first project. So if you have Android Studio open already, you can go to File, New, Create New Project. If you don't have it open it up and click Start a New Android Studio Project. So now it'll give you an option to select a project template. For this, an activity is basically the main or central purpose of a project or an app. We're making a very basic activity, so we're going to select an empty template. So these project templates are built into Android Studio. It has several that you can use for various activities. So for example, if you want to build an app that's going to use the maps feature, you can choose a map template. Or if you want to make an app that will have an ad on it, you can choose an ad template. So we're using an empty template for this workshop, but you should explore the different options that are available to you on your own time. So now we're going to configure your project, and we are going to name it My Coin Flip. And the package name is already set. The location should be set to Kotlin. The language should be set to Kotlin. The location is already set, but you can alter that if you want it saved in a different space. And it's important to set your minimum SDK to at least API 19. A good one for this is Android 4.4, which is nicknamed KitKat. So once you've done all that and made sure that that's all good, you're going to click Finish. And then you can basically edit your project as desired in Android Studio. So that's how you create a project. So I'm going to walk you through a couple of the features in Android Studio, where to find different files and features that you'll need to build your app. So first up, we're going to explore the project pane. So if you go to the upper left, where it says project, that tab, and go to the project pane and click on Android. I believe it's already set to that as a default. This basically lets you view the project in a standard Android project hierarchy, which tends to be the most convenient for while you're actually building the app. Next thing we're going to look at is the app folder. So in the same project Android pane, if if you open up the app folder, you should see 4 subfolders called manifest, Java, generated Java, and res. I'll go over those in a little detail. So the 4 subfolders. First thing you're going to want to do is expand the Java folder. So the Java folder contains like the bulk of your code, the main Kotlin code for building your app. And if you expand that and expand the COM example Android, it says hello world, but because we named it my coin flip, it's going to be my coin flip folder. That folder is more specific to the actual activity that you chose, and it's going to contain all of the app packages that are specific to your activity. So that's the Java folder. It's kind of got the bulk of the things that you need. So the next thing is in the subfolders, the next one is the generated Java folder. This one, it's important to notice it and not mess with it because it basically contains all of the code that Android Studio generates. Like it creates its own files for when like to build the app. So Android Studio is kind of in charge of that folder. So any changes that you make to the code in that folder are probably going to be overridden by Android Studio. So you don't really want to mess with it. So then the next folder is the res folder. So res stands for resources, and these are mostly for user interface resources, which it contains things like images, text strings, screen layouts, styles, values, a bunch of user interface features that'll be important to you later. And then under that folder is a subfolder where you can open the activity main XML file. Just remember that for later because you'll be using that. And the last subfolder is the manifest subfolder, which I'll kind of explain later. So about the activity main XML file, if you expand the layout folder in the res folder, you'll see the activity main XML file. So this is basically the main activity of your app is associated with a UI layout file, which is named after its associated activity. So when you build an app later on in this workshop, you're going to be using this. And finally, last thing we're going to explore is that manifest subfolder. So in the project Android pane again, you can open the manifest folder and open Android manifest.xml. What is this file? It basically contains all the information that Android Studio needs to run your application. So any activities that are happening in your app need to be defined here. You also need to define any permissions that your app might need in this code here. So for example, if your app is going to need to ask to use the camera, you would define that permission here. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Android Studio. Those are the main tools that you're going to need to pay attention to. And so I'll pass it off to Stephanie, who's going to help, who's going to continue.
Hi, yes, thank you, Sydney. So now we're going to explore the Gradle system. So what is Gradle? So Gradle is a build automation system that uses a domain-specific language to describe the app's project structure, configuration, and dependencies. So there's you can find the Gradle scripts under project, under the Android pane, and folder has all the files that the build system needs. So there's 2 files you're going to want to look at. The first one is build.gradle and then project mycoinflip. So this has the configuration options common to all modules that make up your project. Every Android Studio has one, and this file defines the Gradle repositories and dependencies that are common to all the modules in the project. The second one you want to look at is build.gradle module app. So every individual module has its own build Gradle file. And so the module level build Gradle file lets you configure build settings for that specific module. And our CoinFlip app only has one module, the app itself. So now we're going to go through the CoinFlip code. So the first step is to navigate to activity main.xml, which Sydney already went over. But as a quick refresher, it's under res under layout. So the second step, we want to navigate from the design mode to the code mode, which will be on the upper right-hand corner or the lower left-hand corner, depending on which version you have. And the third step will be to copy and paste the code that we've given you in the document that has all the reference code for the code I'm about to go through. What you're going to want to do is replace the default code with the one that we've given you. And now I'm going to go a little bit about the code itself. So the first element you'll see is the linear layout element, which is a type of view group, which is a container that holds other views and helps specify views positions on the screen. So the other two elements that we'll have goes within this element. And those two elements are the text view element and the button element. The text view element will just be the text that will say, flip the coin or heads or tails. And the button will just be for actually flipping the button, flipping the coin. And now I'm going to go a little bit into the attributes each element has. So the first one is an ID attribute, which will be a unique name for each element. The second one will be two layout attributes, and these are specific to make sure that the elements only take up the space that's needed for the text. And the last one is just a text attribute, which will just write the text that the element will have, which is either click the button or flip. So if you would like, you can also navigate back to the design mode to see what the app would look like. So now we'll have a live demo. So as you can see, I have the reference sheet up, and I also have Android Studio up. So I'm going to first copy and paste the code here into activity main.xml, which will be under res, under layout, right here. And I'm just going to replace all of it with what I have here and save it. And if I go back into design, I can see it, but you'll notice that it's off center and doesn't look very good. So we're going to fix that. So step 4, first we want to center the elements, right? Because they were off center, they're up in the upper left-hand corner. So first you're going to want to go into linear layout and add these two lines just so that the app is oriented vertically and centered. The second one you'll want to do is go into both the text view element and the button element and add the following lines just so that your elements are, again, centered horizontally. And if you go into design mode again, you'll see that it is now centered, but the next step is completely optional, but I personally think that the text is a little small. So if we go into the text view element, we can add a text size attribute and set the text to be 30, and you'll see that the text is now bigger. And the very, very last step will be to go into a different file, which will be main activity, which Sydney went over, but as a quick refresher, it's under under app, under Java, under com example android.coinflip. And you're just going to want to completely, you're just going to want to completely replace the code that we have that is already in there with the one we're going to give you. So now we'll have a live demo. So I'm going to go down here and do step 4. Oops, go back to code. And I want to put in these two lines right here. I'm just going to put them in, as well as these. I'm going to put them into text view and button, as well as the text size. So now if I take a look, full size, you'll see they're bigger. I'll put them in both. It's bigger. And now we go into activity.kt, which you'll see under Java, under com example android.coinflip. That's this one. And we want to keep the package in the imports, but we just want to completely take out the class here and just replace it with what we have in the last step. Now, something you'll see is that the button and the text view are red. So this actually means, as you can see in the reference, that it's an unresolved reference. So depending on if you have a Mac or a Windows, I have a Windows. So if you have a Windows, you're going to want to press Alt and then Enter, and it'll just import it. If you have a Mac, you're going to want to press Option Enter. So do that for both text view and button view. Oops. Oh, sorry. Import. Now you're done. And now I'll hand it off to Iana to talk about emulation.
All right, thank you, Stephanie. Okay, so I'll be going through the steps on how you can run your app on a virtual device, also called an emulator. Okay, so step 1 is creating an Android virtual device. So in this task, we'll be using the Android Virtual Device Manager to create our virtual device. So to run an emulator on your computer, you have to create a configuration that describes your virtual device. So in Android Studio, you should look for the AVD Manager under Tools, or click the AVD Manager icon in the toolbar as you see on your screen. And once you click on the AVD Manager, your virtual devices dialog should appear as you see on the screen. If you've already created virtual devices, the dialog shows them, otherwise you see a blank list. All right, and then you click on the Create Virtual Devices button at the bottom left of the dialog, and the Select Hardware dialog appears, showing a list of pre-configured hardware devices. And for each device, the table provides a column for display size, screen resolution, and pixel density. Okay, and then you can go ahead and select a device, such as Nexus 5X or Pixel XL, and then click Next, and the System Image dialog should appear. And then you click on the Recommended tab and choose which version of the Android system you want to run on your virtual device, such as Pi or Oreo. An important thing to note is that you shouldn't choose an API higher than 30 or lesser than 22, as your app then won't be compatible with a few devices, resulting in a lot more changes to your code. Okay, and then after you choose a system image, you click Next, and the Android Virtual Device dialog opens, and check your configuration, and then you can click Finish. Okay, and now we go on to step 2, where you finally run your new app. So in Android Studio, you should navigate to the Run option on the menu and select Run App, or you can click the Run icon in the toolbar, and then the Select Deployment Target dialog appears, as you see on your screen, and it warns you that no devices are available. And you see this warning if you don't have a physical device connected to your computer, or if you haven't yet launched a virtual device. Okay, and then in the Select Deployment Target dialog, under Available Virtual Devices, you should click the virtual device you've created, and then you can click OK. All right, and then the emulator starts and boots just like a physical device. Depending on the speed of your computer, the process may take a while, but don't worry if the emulator takes longer than necessary. It will eventually start running. And yeah, your app builds, and when the emulator is ready, Android Studio uploads the app APK to the emulator and runs it. And yeah, you should see the CoinFlip app run on your emulator as shown on your screen. Okay, and now we'll be going over running your app on a physical device, such as your phone or a tablet. Always test your apps on both virtual and physical devices. Physical devices allow real-life variables to be included in test cases, such as battery level or the effect of additional applications running in the background, which is why it's really important to test on as many physical devices as possible to get complete insights on app quality and performance. So what you'll need are your Android device, such as a phone or a tablet, and then a USB data cable to connect your Android device to your computer via the USB port. And if you use a Linux or a Windows system, you might have to follow a few extra steps. We've created a documentation which includes instructions on running your apps on a Windows or Linux device. And you may also need to install appropriate USB drivers for your device. So we've also included instructions on that. The link to that will be available on the chat. Okay, so step 1 is turning on USB debugging. So to let Android Studio communicate with your device, you must enable USB debugging in the developer option settings of your device. So on Android 4.2 and higher, the developer option settings are hidden by default. So to show the developer options and enable USB debugging, on your device, you should open Settings and search for About Phone. And once you click on About Phone, you should scroll down and you should find Build Number. And once you see Build Number, you should click on that option 7 times continuously. And then you can return to the previous page on settings, and here your developer options should appear in the list. And then you can click on developer options and select USB debugging. Okay, so now you can connect your device and run the app from Android Studio. So first you should connect the Android device to your machine with a USB cable. A dialog should appear on the device asking to allow USB debugging, as you see on your screen. And then, yeah, you select the Always Allow option to remember the computer and tap OK. And now we go back to your computer. So in Android Studio toolbar, you should click the Run button, and the Select Deployment Target dialog that we saw previously opens once again with the list of available emulators and connected devices. And you should see your physical device along with any other emulators. And then you select your device and click OK. And Android Studio installs the app on your device and runs it. Okay, so if you run into any problems such as Android Studio not recognizing your device, we go through troubleshooting steps in our Kotlin documentation, so feel free to check that out. And yeah, that concludes our workshop. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Great job, team. The workshop was amazing. It was great seeing you all present over here. I've actually learned a lot about Kotlin that I did not know about before, and I'm sure you've all have learned something new. So we'll be pretty happy to get some emails or some comments about the section today. We went through a lot of content really fast, so a video of this workshop are going to be posted on our YouTube channel, so you can come back and watch it for later. But great job, everyone. It is really nice to see how the power of Kotlin and how we can use it in IoT devices and all different kind of personal computing that is available to us right now. And the best part about it is that it's cross compatible, so you can have it on a Mac, on a Windows, and it would be working on most of the devices you would be using on day-to-day basis. Great job, everyone, and I hope you all have a great night if you're on the West Coast, or otherwise have a great day internationally if you're just starting up your day. Thank you all. Have a great day. Enjoy. Goodbye.